This is a very, very horrible story, and after getting the full details, you will struggle to decide whether to blame the mother of the young girl or her alleged killers. 17-year-old Gaala Aden Abdi was said to have been forcefully taken from a refugee camp in Kenya in the middle of the night and then transported over 150 kilometers to a remote village within the same Kenya, where she would meet her supposed husband, who happened to be 38 years older than her. When they arrived at the village, young Gaala was introduced to her supposed husband, 55-year-old Mohammed Kassim Tifow. After Gaala saw the man she was supposed to marry, she was said to be terrified and visibly disagreed with her family. Gaala was not interested in getting married to Mohammed, a man who was old enough to be her grandfather. However, to her greatest disappointment, her family refused to listen to her pleas, and sadly, this would not be the first or the last time they would be ignoring her cries for help until it eventually became too late. It is not clear what the arrangements between the two families were, but Gaala's mother and stepfather ended up marrying her off to 55-year-old Mohammed, even as she cried and also pleaded against the marriage. After she was forcefully married off to Mohammed and then left behind by her family, Gaala was said to have continuously fought against the marriage with her husband and her in-laws. She refused to perform most of the duties expected of a wife, and this got her in-laws very angry. Gaala faced brutal treatment from Mohammed and his relatives as they tried to force her into accepting the marriage. This mistreatment continued for weeks until one day, Gaala had to cry out to her mother for help. She sent a voice recording to her mother, and the contents of that voice recording were nothing short of heartbreaking. In the recording, Gaala recounted how her husband and his relatives were forcing her into submission. She also detailed how they were taking advantage of her vulnerability as an underage refugee girl to exploit her. Gaala told her mother that she was being assaulted 24 hours a day and that her husband was not a man. She cried that she was betrayed into marrying a header and also asked why her face was swollen. Gaala told her mom that she does not have a man over there, and then accused her of always supporting Mohammed every time she cried out. She cried that no one listens to her and that whenever she returns to the house every sunset, she gets beaten by her husband and his family. After receiving this heartbreaking message, you would think that Gaala's mother and stepfather would hurriedly enter a car and then drive down to Wajir County, where their daughter was being maltreated, in order to rescue her. But no, the family did nothing about her cries for help that very day. Gaala's suffering would eventually come to an end, but in a manner that would bring tears to your eyes. On the evening of Saturday, March 22, 2025, Gaala's mother, Amina Abdi received a call from one of Mohammed's relatives through her daughter's phone, telling her that Gaala would never return back to the refugee camp and that there was no point for her to come to Wajir County to see her daughter. This call may not have made much sense to Amina until she received a distress call from her daughter some hours later. The call came in late at night when people were returning from their prayers at 10 p.m. In the phone call, Gaala, whose voice was said to be trembling, cried to her mother for the very last time that she was being attacked. She also told her mother that her in-laws were coming to take her phone away. Some seconds later, everything went silent and Amina could not hear from her daughter again. However, around 2 a.m. that night, she got a call from one of the in-laws telling her that her daughter, Gaala, was dead. As painful as it may have sounded to her, she may have assumed it was an ordinary death, not until she visited the scene the next day and also learned of the content of Gaala's post-mortem report. Amina rushed down to Wajir County the next day, only to discover that her daughter had died from multiple stab wounds and her remains burnt beyond recognition. When she arrived, she found what was left of her daughter placed on a mattress alongside her bags and lying outside a rental house. A Somali knife, which was suspected to be the murder weapon, was also found at the scene. Gaala's remains were recovered for post-mortem examination, and the case was also reported to the police. The post-mortem examination showed that Gaala suffered what doctors described as a 100-degree burn on her body. It also noted that she had suffered a spinal cord injury before her untimely death. Gaala Aden Abdi was a 17-year-old Somalian girl who followed her mother to a refugee camp in Kenya. From the information available, it seemed her mother got married to a man who was not her biological father, thereby making her a stepdaughter. Not much is known about her personal life or what her life looked like before she decided to join her mother in running away from Somalia. There is also no information on how her marriage came about. Hence, we currently cannot say if her first marriage was sanctioned by her mother or her stepfather. After the incident was reported to the police, Mohammed and two others involved in Gaala's death were arrested and also taken into custody. However, there were reports that Mohammed is trying to activate what they call the Maslaha system. Under this system, elders, the perpetrators and their family engage the family of the victim and then negotiate an out-of-court settlement. The practice is said to be prevalent in the northeastern Kenya and particularly among Somalians. The system has been blamed for denying survivors of sexual and gender-based violence access to justice in the region, and as such, human rights activists in Kenya are kicking against its use in Gaala's case. The case is still in the early stages of investigation, and the Kenyan police have vowed to do all they can to bring the perpetrators to justice. Gaala's mobile phone was asked to be audited since it is highly likely to contain evidence of the abuse she suffered while in her husband's house in Wajir County. However, her mobile phone had gone missing right from the day she was murdered. Since the minor used to record everything that was happening to her, it is strongly believed that getting the phone will be a major breakthrough in the case. Gaala's tragic death caused a lot of outrage in the country, with many people taking to the streets to protest against femicide and gender-based violence.
So we are saying, as the people of Wajir County, as the human rights defenders, we are saying we must get justice for Gaala. We are aware that the Department of Criminal Investigation who are engaged, those for Wajir West, are not doing justice for that girl. There is no investigation that is going on into this incident. That is what we have confirmed. They have been collecting flimsy and fake statements from people who are guided and ending up so that the case does not go into anywhere. So we are saying that we need the Director of Criminal Investigation to send a special team to go and investigate this matter and bring those people who are perpetrators of this heinous act into justice.
It is just so crazy to know that people still do child marriages in this current age. May her young soul rest in peace, and we strongly hope that her killers are brought to justice. Who would you blame in this tragic case? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel for more true crime stories. Thank you for watching and stay safe.